round numbers.
I know the date needs to be changed to February 19th, 2008.
Okay, thank you. To the board, any additional questions, concerns, comments to the staff, the appellant? Supervisor Pinches?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to support this proposal basically because I don't think there's any, I'm a strong private property rights person, and I don't think there's any real significant reason why we can deny this. First of all, every one of the parcels is more than 160 acres, so the issue of I mean, they can take those 160 acre parcel and zoning and sell them, go through the process and sell them anyway. So I don't think that's the issue here. I disagree with the appellant about the issue that more parcels makes less trash, though, because in my experience, more parcels makes more trash. So I know that area quite well and the problems it's associated with. That's one thing about an area that's, because part of CDF's when they do a timber harvest plan, is a timber operator is not allowed to dispose of any trash or anything. So with the timber operator actually ends up doing when they go into a location like that, they end up cleaning up all the trash that's there. So that's one advantage of keeping in timber operations. These parcels will probably be purchased by people that want to go into the illegal marijuana industry, but that's been happening in that area before, whether it's in your ownership or their ownership. So I don't see that as a real issue here. So to make it short, I'd like to make a motion to grant this appeal.
Okay, we're not quite there just yet, so I'll grant that when the time comes. In regards to Admiral Stanley State Park, in regards to dumping, I too am very familiar with this entire section of the road, and I don't believe they're, to Supervisor Smith's question, they're impacted as dramatically as this other stretch of road on these parcels, because it's a very short stretch of Branscombe Road that goes through Admiral Stanley State Park, and it's patrolled and cleaned up by state parks officials on a regular basis. I've worked in the past pretty extensively on this piece of ground with state parks, and so the existing avenues and accesses to these other parcels lend themselves naturally to access to people that are predisposed to break the law and dump their garbage. I've also been on the Mendocino Solid Waste Authority when we granted the application for the Farm and Ranch grant to clean up that property, and I believe it was about $20,000 were expended on that piece, and I'm very saddened to hear that the precautions we took after those properties were cleaned up have not been adequate, and it's very unfortunate, whether it be the fees to dispose properly of garbage, hazardous waste, etc., be the prohibitive factor, or if people are just damn lazy and dump their garbage wherever they feel like it. It's very sad state of affairs. In regards to, let's see, covered fishing game, Admiral Stanley. I too am going to vote in favor of this. It's unfortunate to see any breakup of parcels, but I do believe it brings it back to a manageable type of situation for the company, and provides possibly for some legitimate folks to buy property, and not just the folks that we unfortunately have to deal with on a daily basis with the underground economy. So I tend to be the eternal optimist and hope that legitimate folks will come forward and be able to purchase these parcels. So that concludes my comments. Any additional from the board? Okay, I'll close the public hearing at this point and bring it back to the board for any discussion or action. And I believe Supervisor Pinches, you had some thoughts.
I'll so move to grant the appeal.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to grant the appeal. Madam Clerk.
Sorry, just for clarification, it's the recommended action motion with the modified language to conditions number 4 and 7 as described by staff.
Right there, John.
Yes.
And that's to the seconder also?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussions to the motion? Okay. I don't think this is a dramatic enough situation to call for the light board, so I'll just call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No. Okay.
Passes on a 4-1 with Supervisor Colfax dissenting. And thank you for your presentation and your visuals. You bet.
Good luck.
Okay. Let's see. Let me check my script here. Let's go to public expression. Is there any public expression on items not before us today on the agenda? Seeing the two members of public not getting very excited, I'll move along. And, yes, and other items before us, the CEO report. Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just notified Paul Kaler, I'd like him to come in and also give us an update on our legislative trip last week to Washington, D.C. But in the meantime, I'm going to start off just a number of informational items again for you this week. We talk about the status of the court transfers. There is a new assembly bill out there. As you'll note in my comments, that the longer we wait on those court transfers, the more expensive it gets from us with our CFP payments. I believe staff has told me that we're close to the transfer agreement on the Fort Bragg courts, but we have got to get started on the Willits operation. Copier consolidation, you'll get a further report of this from our General Services Director in the weeks to come, but we are in the midst of a major program in case you hear anything from staff or the vendor about replacing our copiers. This is a per copy charge program. I think that this has a number of significant savings for us through this process. Staff has been working on this for the last year or so, and I think they've done a terrific job in pulling this together. Want to let you know we do have a new employee at our front desk, and that's Chris Thrillkill. Number of items going on in the CDBG program. I've talked to Community Development Corporation, and they are moving forward with some of this, the process that you have to go through. One of the areas that I've asked that they take a look at in particular is the use of CDBG for rehabilitation of handicap facilities for ADA. It is an eligible activity under public facilities. I have done projects that way before. We do have about another 7 years left in our overall plan for making facilities truly handicapped accessible. So we're going to be looking at a couple of options, how we could possibly advance some of that work through the CDBG program. It is a eligible activity. I think we can make a real dent in there. CDBG, again, is being slashed in the federal budget. We're not too concerned about that because that seems to be the usual political pawn activity. The SB 81 Executive Steering Committee, my first meeting is on February 19th. That was originally a vacant day for us at the board, but of course you're going to meet and talk about the Mill Creek EIR. I'll be in Sacramento that day working on that $100 million allocation for the probation side. So Allison Glassy will be here covering in my absence. There is an intern program that was rolled out several months ago. All of our department heads and myself attended training, but we have not done a formal presentation to the board.